Welcome to Earth and Kind Quests. My name is Mike, and this video shares about what might happen when an Eldritch Knight Fighter battles against a Pact of the Blade Fiend Patron Warlock. The Wood Elf Eldritch Knight named Eldritch is cooperating as part of a team of 4 heroic adventurers on a quest to defeat a dragon at the dragon's lair. The tiefling Pact of the Blade Warlock with a Fiend Patron is named Blade Burns, acting as one of 4 enforcers working for the dragon and sent out to confront the approaching 4 heroes. In the video text description here, you can see the web links for both of the level 8 character sheets in D&D Beyond. You might notice that these characters are not necessarily optimized. Instead, they represent the kinds of characters that I would play starting at level 1 and then making practical choices up through level 8. I made just one minor modification in the newest 2024 game rules for these characters, allowing them to use their dedicated weapons as their spellcasting focus for both the somatic and material components of their spellcasting. In most cases, the Eldritch Knight, Eldritch, would rely on her speed, her multiple attacks per round, and her overall strong defensive features. In this way, she can prevail in most battles. The Pact of the Blade Warlock Blade Burns can engage effectively in melee combat with her Pact of the Blade, but she knows that the Eldritch Knight is more dangerous in melee combat. In this case, the Warlock probably will rely more on her powerful spellcasting to summon an extra combatant and to impose various spellcasting barriers against her opponent. Leading up to this point, Eldritch and her companions began their trek across a field of lava terrain on their way to the dragon's lair, when they were confronted by the dragon's 4 chosen enforcers. For practical purposes, I will present each battle in a separate video, including Bladesinger Wizard vs. Draconic Sorcerer, Eldritch Knight Fighter vs. Pact of the Blade Fiend Warlock, Life Domain Cleric vs. Oath of Vengeance Paladin, and Circle of the Land Druid vs. Battlemaster Fighter. The enforcers of the Red Dragon have gained an unfair advantage because they are not concerned about conserving their daily power resources, while their opponents may prefer to hold back and reserve their spell slots and their other special features for when later they will confront the dragon at its lair. Additionally, in this battlefield, scattered spots contain fountains of magma that will cause 2d8 fire damage to any creature when first entering the space or when starting a turn in there, applicable only once per turn against each creature. Right now, the Eldritch Knight Eldritch and the Pact of the Blade Warlock Blade Burns roll for initiative. The Eldritch Knight wins this contest, and she will act first. In round 1, Eldritch moves into melee contact with her opponent and she begins her series of weapon attacks. The first attack with her scimitar is a hit, causing 9 points of slashing damage. As a reaction, though, the Warlock uses her once-per-day free casting of Hellish Rebuke. The Eldritch Knight succeeds on the dexterity saving throw and takes only half of the 2d8 of fire damage for a total of only 4 points of damage. Eldritch continues her assault. The Vex weapon mastery of the first scimitar attack allows an extra attack with a different weapon in another hand. The Eldritch Knight attacks with her short sword, again striking her opponent and dealing 8 points of piercing damage. The successful hit with the short sword applies the Vex weapon mastery, granting advantage on the Eldritch Knight's next attack roll, once more with the short sword but delivering only 6 points of piercing damage. Eldritch now reaches into her inner strength for her action surge, allowing another 2 attacks. The Vex weapon mastery of her previous attack allows an advantage on the next strike, resulting in 9 points of slashing damage, and once again the short sword applies another Vex weapon mastery for advantage on 1 more attack for another 9 points of piercing damage. The Pact of the Blade Warlock, Blade Burns, starts her first turn in this combat after sustaining a serious amount of damage, now with only 10 hit points remaining. Drawing on her connection with her Fiend Patron, the Warlock casts a powerful yet risky spell of Summon Greater Demon. She decides to cast the spell with the variant of a protective circle around herself, knowing that she might not be able to control the summoned demon. The Warlock summons a demon that looks like a large Minotaur, but uses the statistics of a Tanaruk. Perhaps another video episode can explore about the personality and history of this demon and how it relates to the Warlock. I encourage to share your ideas in the comment section. The summoned demon can make 2 hard-hitting attacks, plus it can make a reaction attack whenever it is hit by a melee opponent. Furthermore, the demon can use a bonus action to move an additional 30 feet toward an opponent, potentially matching or possibly outmatching the speed of the Eldritch Knight. As a bonus action, the Warlock Blade Burns uses her once-per-day free casting of Sanctuary without using a spell slot cast on herself as an extra protective measure. The summoned demon rolls for initiative and will act next in this round. At least for now, the demon must obey the Warlock's command to attack the Eldritch Knight. The demon attempts to grapple, and the Eldritch Knight fails a saving throw against this attempt. The demon moves its grappled target into the nearest column of magma, delivering 2d8 of fire damage. The demon then attempts to bite, but this attack misses. In round 2, Eldritch begins her turn with sustaining another 2d8 of fire damage. She then rolls for an acrobatics check, successfully escaping the demon's grapple. As a bonus action, she spends 1 use of her second wind feature, healing back 16 hit points, and the tactical mind enhancement allows to move up to half of her speed without provoking an opportunity attack. Eldritch moves to re-establish melee contact with her opponent. With only 10 hit points remaining, the Warlock will need to consider carefully about her next choice. As a bonus action, the Warlock casts Armor of Agathis, ending her previous Sanctuary spell on herself while granting herself 20 temporary hit points. For as long as any of those temporary hit points will last, any incoming melee weapon damage from her opponent will cause an automatic 20 points of cold damage to the Eldritch Knight. As her action, the Warlock spends her once-per-day free casting of the spell Darkness, without using a spell slot. She centers the darkness on herself, knowing that her Devil's Sight invocation will allow herself to see through the magical darkness, while any incoming attacks against her will be at disadvantage. Now, while concentrating on the darkness spell, the Warlock must give up her concentration on the summoned demon. Based on a roll of 1d6, the demon will stay here for another 2 rounds before it will vanish and return to its home realm. The demon is free from the Warlock's command, and now it will use its remaining turns in this world to attack the nearest non-demon creature. It moves into the darkness, knowing that 2 potential targets are in there, and it makes contact with the Eldritch Knight. Attacking with disadvantage in the darkness, the demon misses with its bite, and then it misses again with its great sword. In round 3, the Eldritch Knight, Eldritch, attempts her weapon attacks at disadvantage in the darkness against the Warlock. The first attack with the scimitar is a hit, removing 10 of the temporary hit points of the Warlock's Armor of Agathis, while the Eldritch Knight automatically takes 20 points of cold damage. The Warlock needs to make a Constitution saving throw to maintain concentration on the Darkness spell, rolling with disadvantage due to the Eldritch Knight's Mage Slayer feat, and she fails to hold her concentration. Now unhindered by the Darkness spell, Eldritch unloads an additional attack with her short sword, and she succeeds with a critical hit, dealing a total of 12 points of damage that will end the Warlock's temporary hit point shield, terminate the Armor of Agathis spell, and reduce the Warlock's regular hit points down to only 8 remaining. Eldritch still takes the automatic 20 points of cold damage, but she retains a healthy supply of her hit points, and she can make 1 more attack with her short sword, rolling with advantage due to the Vex weapon mastery of her prior hit. This next attack is a success, and it delivers enough damage for the Warlock to fall unconscious. This battle is not yet concluded because the demon has rolled to stay here for 2 rounds. The demon attempts to bite, but misses with a natural 1 on the attack roll. The demon attacks with its greatsword, but the Eldritch Knight blocks it with her reaction to parry against the blow with her defensive duelist feat. In round 4, Eldritch uses the dash action to move 90 feet away from the demon. Before she can escape, though, the demon makes 1 opportunity attack with disadvantage due to the Eldritch Knight's speedy feat. The attack misses, and Eldritch moves to a safe distance. The demon pursues, using a dash action to move 60 feet and a bonus action to move another 30 feet, coming into melee contact with the Eldritch Knight, but without an action available to attempt to attack. Now in round 5, Eldritch continues her escape from the demon, relying on her speedy feat to impose disadvantage on the demon's opportunity attack. The attack is blocked by the Eldritch Knight's reaction of her defensive duelist feat. She successfully moves another 90 feet away with her dash action. At this point, the demon no longer can stay here, and it returns back to its place of origin. The Eldritch Knight, Eldritch, has won this Nemesis battle. She managed to conserve her power resources. She will be able to recharge all of her expended features and to regain her hit points after only a short rest, and then she will be in a good condition to continue on her quest to face the Red Dragon in its lair. In this moment, the Eldritch Knight searches through her surroundings, looking for where her companions might be, and if perhaps they might need her assistance. Meanwhile, somehow, her Warlock opponent has disappeared from the scene. Our story will continue in the next episodes of Nemesis Battles. For now, in the comment section, please share your ideas and suggestions about what could have happened differently and what could happen next. As always, thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video.